Okay, thank you, Andy. Well, let me put my camera on. Welcome, everyone. Welcome to the Resources for Training New SiD Data Staff session. Thanks for coming to this session. I am Jenny Schlukebier with the SiD Support team, and I'm here kind of hosting this session and starting us off, but I'm joined by some expert practitioners in the field. So that will be Stacy Dietrich Varney from International Institute, Linda Keller from Metro North, and Cindy Morgan from Minneapolis. And they're each going to be presenting a little bit about some of their staff training resources and onboarding of new data staff in particular. And they're going to do introductions of themselves when it's their turn. So, and I also, somebody unnamed here, but Andy did mention her, is Mary Zimmerly is here, also part of the SiD support staff team. And she'll be monitoring the chat. So if you have questions and we don't get to them, we'll be able to get to them at the end. And she might be able to answer some right in there. And we'll, as Andy said, she'll be putting in links. Okay, so I'm going to get going. I'm going to also turn off my camera. But welcome aboard, everyone. Thanks for coming. So our agenda for today, for this session, is I'm going to start off talking about some of the resources that we have on our SiD support help section and help pages. We've got a lot of articles, videos, webinars, and I'm going to focus you in on the ones that we think are particularly useful for training new staff and things that we've built in a way so that they can be pieced together by you in your local training efforts. And then, as I mentioned, we will have some experts in the field come on and talk about how they utilize some of our help documents and incorporate their own and create their own staff training and orientation systems at their programs. And they've brought in a lot of links and stuff that they're willing to share some info with you, which I think is awesome. So that'll be International Institute of Minnesota, which is in St. Paul, Metro North, and Minneapolis. So we'll get going, starting off looking at SiD and the offer on the support we have available. And again, I'm Jenny, and Mary is with us as well. So when you are in SiD, on any screen in SiD, you can get to our help center, which looks like this big image over here on the right with the gray squares. To get to that, on any page in SiD, across the top, you have this blue header across the top, and on the right-hand side is a help button. If you click the help button, you'll get to our help site. You can also get there by going to this website, mnabe.zendesk.com. Okay, and on this site, it's kind of overloaded with some info, but one of the first things I want to point out is at the top is this search bar, and that allows you to search for any topic, because really we do have a lot of help articles on here, a lot of how-tos, so there's a lot. So you can start by searching. So if you have a question, how do I take attendance or something, you can put in take attendance, and then it's going to give you a list of articles on that topic. But also each of these grayish black squares are a topic area. So if you have a question about staff, for example, and you want to figure out how to put in a new staff person or how to track some of their trainings, which is a new requirement this year to track staff trainings in SiD, then you could click on the staff box and that'll bring you to all the articles about that particular topic. So today I'm going to highlight this box, which is the SiD training and support section. So if you click on that, the next screen here is what you will see. So on this screen, today I'm going to talk a lot about what's in this highlighted box here, but just below that, I want to also point out that we also include links to all our recent webinars. So for example, the most recent one on here was our fall data cleanup session, which was in October. If you click on that, it's going to give you a list. It's going to have links to our slides, links to the video of the session, and handouts and descriptions and stuff. So if you have new staff who you think should go to maybe a webinar that was presented a couple weeks ago or something, you can always come back here and find that information. Okay, so here's the stuff that we think is really helpful for working with new staff. So we have something we call the SiD Orientation Series, SOS videos, we like to call them. So we suggest you start there, and I'm going to point that out in a second. And that will be a list of videos that we think are really great for starting new staff off. We also have a couple categories of video lessons. And those go into a little more in depth than that SOS series. And one is targeted at those folks who have admin level logins. So those are folks, probably a lot of you here today. So you are the ones who are able to create new students, create, put in test scores, create classes, all that stuff. And then a series for those with teacher level login. So just the folks who are teachers and who aren't in doing quite as much, but they're taking attendance and can put in test scores for students. Finally, we have what we call the basic guides, which are printable PDF documents, which are excellent. Okay, so the SiD Orientation Series, SOS. This is a series of 8 videos, and we're targeting people who are brand new to SiD, so brand new staff for you. We wanted to make these very digestible and short. And so as you can see, it shows you how long each of the videos is. The longest one is just shy of 6 minutes. I think we were trying to keep them under 5, but we had a couple. And these go into great detail. They're pretty self-explanatory. The titles hopefully are self-explanatory about what you're going to see. And for a total of about 30 minutes. So it's really not a huge time commitment. And also you can select and choose the ones that you think would be most useful for your new staff. Now, I mentioned those video lesson sections. So these have a little more detail. So if you click on the one for admin level login, you'll get this screen. And this has also a bunch of videos, again, that we like to keep in bite-sized chunks. About 5 minutes seem to be the longest in here. And they go into all kinds of more detailed topics like person search, which is a complicated topic, creating new people, customizing your test menu, which you're all going to have to do now that there's going to be some new CASAS tests. So they go a little more detail. They are great videos. Mary has done them all. I just want to give a shout out to her. And these are the ones targeted for people with admin level logins. And again, you could have some staff go through all of them, or you can piecemeal them together maybe for some new staff trainings, or reminders for staff who've been around as well. And the other screen is of the ones that are targeted for teachers. So description of the SiD tabs, how to enter attendance, how to enter test scores for the students in your class, etc. And then finally, the SiD basic guides. And these, as I mentioned, are printable PDF documents that go into great detail. So these are something you might want to print up, put in a little manual for your staff. We have the one that's for the admin login. That one's like 10 pages, I want to say, with all kinds of great details, screenshots, nice, something you can print up and your staff can write on. And then we also have a separate set for those with teacher logins. And the teacher login folks, no, the teacher one is, I think, 10 pages. And the one for admin, there's 3 separate groups, 3 separate handouts in there. One for all about how you deal with students, creating students, doing student history, all that stuff. How you deal with classes, creating classes, etc., and how you deal with staff. So really great resources, printable. A lot of us, I love online stuff, but I also like to have stuff printed myself. Okay. So those are the resources I wanted to point out. Of course, we also have help where you can email us. If you're like, oh, I want some kind of resource and I can't figure it out, just email us at sidsupport@literacymn.org, which Mary put in the chat. And I had this activity, but I think I'm going to wait to do this one at the end. So it can come back to this if we want, which is I'm going to have you all go in and actually take a look at a couple of videos. So I think even though we have it here, I want to keep moving along to the other presenters and then give you all a chance after you've heard other folks, the way they use this stuff. If we have time then, which I think we will, I want you all to go out and maybe take a look at a couple of videos just to do it while you're here, while you're sort of a captive audience. Okay, we're going to move on. So the first program that's going to come and tell us about how they do some of their onboarding with new staff is International Institute Minnesota with Stacy. And are you ready to go? Awesome.
Yeah.
Thank you.
All right, thanks, Jenny. So as she said, I am Stacy Dietrich Varney. I'm the program manager for education at the International Institute of Minnesota in St. Paul. A little background, we're a bit of a different organization than some of the others represented today, in that we're a nonprofit as a part of a bigger consortium in St. Paul, and not only education, we also are a refugee resettlement agency, immigration services. We have about 80 staff on site, and a third of those are in the education workforce, using SiD and being in ABE. And so it's really beneficial that all of our staff are aware of these things that work in workforce in ABE. All right. Next slide. Awesome. So our program structure, I said I'm in education. That is the ESL, the citizenship and community orientation at our location. And it's an expectation that all of our staff are able to use SiD and able to use it really in depth. We don't have a big, wide structure of support for a lot of staff, so they need trainings so that they can kind of find their own answers. I'm the supervisor, but I also teach. I'm supervising about 9 full-time, about 3 part-time. So there's a lot going on, and we really need people to be able to find their own answers, which is why so much of that help desk information is needed. And our general onboarding for new staff, we do onboard, full-time, part-time, contract, and AmeriCorps members to our organization. And that, of course, goes through HR. We do regular onboarding just like everyone else. But then I really take a personalized approach to onboarding each individual so that it is the most beneficial on the front end. I've really found in my time, I've been at the Institute managing for about 8 years, that if someone starts in a difficult place, or they're not fully trained, as I wasn't, it can take a lot of time to get them going. So I really like to front end training pretty heavily, and then also include coworkers as a part of the culture and how we at the Institute approach data, how we approach students, and what that looks like. And then we do continue it. So it's monthly and annual for all of our kind of ABE and SiD trainings, in addition to other professional development. So on the next slide, I do have kind of what I create, which is a detailed first 2-week schedule. If we, I see Mary put it in the chat. Yeah, if you want to click on it as well, Jenny. This is a personalized one for an AmeriCorps that was onboarded this past summer. And you can see I take time, I do a lot, and I include a lot of links. So we have everyone on staff do, of course, the CASAS and TABE if they're going to be in the education area. Whether or not they're instructors, we do expect that people are familiar with the tests, able to be proctors, and able to step in if needed. So I put that right away, because who knows what's going to happen next year if they might be asked to step into a testing area. We also have privacy training, which isn't a part of the SiD necessarily, but we think it's really important, and it's actually a free training through the state of Minnesota. So I would recommend everyone. It's about data privacy and entering information into a database. If we go back, so go up, Jenny, scroll down a little bit. So just for people to see as well, as the chart here has the information about what someone will be doing day to day, but I also include towards the bottom, scroll down. Can you scroll down? Yeah, keep going. Links about like our individual organization, different programs we work with, trainings that I want that are through SiD, trainings I want through the state, NRS information, and then further down it even includes relevant staff. So I really recommend, if you are onboarding, if you're in an organization, a CBO, a nonprofit that has this kind of structure, it's really helpful to have that information because it's not necessarily accessible other places. All right, we can go back to the slides. Thank you. And like I said, the privacy training CASAS TABE, but then SiD specifically, the training for new users, how to find help, the person search, those are all really key trainings that the staff need to know. I don't do that for people. So it's key for them for admin level access that people can do it right. It has definitely been an issue in the past that if someone does a person search and they don't do it quite right, they're not going to find the right person. They're going to duplicate staff. They're going to have to send an email to Jenny and Mary and get things fixed. So Those are always right away in the first 2 weeks of someone being onboarded in any role that's going to be in education. Okay, now we can do next. And I mentioned a little about continuing education. We do a set monthly professional development across workforce and education at the International Institute. It's an hour and a half. It's Thursday afternoons. And those, it's on everyone's calendar. If people can't make it, what are you going to do? But we do really take advantage of that time to incorporate, whether it's education as a broad perspective, but when I lead, I bring it back to accountability. And I always have more continuing education about that help desk or with that help desk information included. So whether you were onboarded 10 years ago, 5 years ago, we do an annual review so that anything new that comes up, training materials are always being developed and improved. And like Jenny said, you know, shortened and all these things that really help staff engage with materials to be self-sufficient. So every year we go over how to find help, you know, the general interest section that's in the SiD help area. And then any links to policies are also included on that page that Jenny was showing. So it's really a good go-to. I know when I'm looking for ABE policy or NRS policy, it sometimes can be buried. So SiD is a really good location to start if you're trying to find something that's relevant for ABE. It's also really key that we, you know, start and stop our class lists with the fiscal year. So we don't have start and stops. We're a continuous enrollment organization. So that training on what to do and when the year ends is really key for us. I don't have it listed here, but there are trainings as well on pulling reports. We are funded through ABE, through the state, through the federal, and knowing how reports connect to the students, connect to what we're doing and our outcomes. I think it's on not only the supervising staff, but on all staff in our organization to be directly engaged with what they're inputting and how that directly connects to our sustainability as an organization. And SiD, all of that is where it's kept. So I like to have people really connect to the information on a close level, and this is the best way to do it. I also want to echo what Jenny said about contacting and emailing. Mary is very responsive. If you have any questions, anything that doesn't look quite right as you're going through SiD, as you're entering data, test questions, and it's been a really good communication tool to use that email, and it's very efficient. So definitely want to echo contacting the help desk directly if there's something missing. It's a great response tool. Okay, well, I believe that's the end of my slide. Coming up next with Metro North, Linda Keller will be presenting about their onboarding and processes.
Thank you, Stacy.
Good morning, everyone. My name is Linda Keller. I work with Metro North Adult Basic Education. My current role is accountability coordinator, but what I do here for the program is I do all things SiD, all things data collection, all things testing. I've been part of Adult Basic Ed for 27 years in support staff roles throughout my entire time here. Been in 2005 is when I started this current role. I don't know how much any of you know about Metro North, but we're part of 8 school districts in the northern part of the Minneapolis area. We have sites at a community college, at a technical college. We are co-located in a workforce center. We've got 3 different corrections locations. We have 2 GED test centers, and we have some rural locations as well as inner city locations. So we have a really wide variety of types of sites. Therefore, that's why my knowledge base is what I have, because I've been fortunate enough to be part of all of these different entities that are part of us. We currently have between 75 and 85 staff throughout the consortium at any given time. We have a leadership team that I am part of that are all full-time staff. We've got a program leader, Molly Liberto, and we have 3 program supervisors. We have a full-time volunteer coordinator. And with my role, I'm full-time also. And we have a front office person who answers all of the incoming calls for the consortia. And we have 3 data staff that currently enter and create new learners and enrolling learners. And I know Stacy had talked about earlier with all of the information with SiD and touching data and person search. There's a lot of training that needs to go into all of those pieces. And so that's why we've chosen to just have 3 staff that are entering and updating student records in the system, with the exception of testing. So onboarding new staff, if you could go to the next slide. Onboarding new staff at Metro North is multiple staff's responsibility. I just hold pieces of those responsibilities. And so my responsibility has to do with all of the SiD information and training, data collection, all of the testing, along with CASAS and tape testing. And I cannot thank the SiD team enough for developing and providing all of the video links that they've created just recently. They're awesome, nice little bite-sized chunks. They've got the time located on how long each of the videos are. And with that being said, I think it's on the next slide here. The information with the new training that I provide, I send out a format letter or intro letter to all new staff as they're joining. But the first step is we need to gather information about who the new hire is, if they've been a staff in adult basic ed before somewhere in Minnesota. But any SiD training that I provide is very customized based on whatever role it is that they're playing here. We do make sure that now, since July 1st, that all staff, that's all of our responsibilities to make sure that ABE Foundations gets completed. And then the new staff provides me the date of the certificate that they received from MDE, so that information can be recorded in SiD, because again, it's a new requirement to all staff since July 1st of 2023. I do have a link in this page here that is a new staff checklist training. This was developed by input from all of the leadership at Metro North, and there's just a lot of different pieces that whoever is responsible has to touch that. They're just talking points and key points so that we make sure that we're not forgetting any of these different items. I shared this last year as well, so please feel free to make a copy of it if there's other touching points and customize it for your individual program. All right, what are the other information that I have? The next slide, I believe, I created a Google form for new staff, because periodically I was just getting an email from a teacher saying, hey, I have a new staff. Well, there's a lot of questions that you need to ask. Is it a teaching staff? Are they part-time? Which classes that they're going to be assigned to? I created that to kind of gather all that information so that I can customize whatever training it is that I need to provide for SiD, for CASAS, for TABE accordingly. And then the next link that is in there is an intro letter. It's an email that I send out to all new staff, welcoming them to Metro North, telling them, just giving them a little brief intro on me, what I'm all responsible for here at Metro North, the testing series that they could potentially need some training on. But then I set up an individual time with them. But I also provide them with all those SiD links and some SiD login instructions for the very first time that they're going to log in. I ask them to go out and watch those videos before I meet with them for the first time, so that they can kind of get familiar and then tool around in the system, so that it's not like difficult for them when I meet with them. I used to spend anywhere from an hour to 2 hours meeting with new staff one-on-one before these videos came on board. So it is saving me some staff time in that initial training with staff. But yeah, feel free to use it. I know that I saw some new videos out there too that I'm going to add to my email template here. But yeah, feel free to use it. The next link that I have in there, and I think I might have to update this too, but it's just some visuals, because, you know, if people aren't super comfortable with technology, throw in some screenshots of what the email is going to look like and where it's going to come from to confirm your SiD account. It does not come from me. It comes from MN adult basic education. So, you know, sometimes it'll end up in spam. People will say, I didn't receive an email from you, but just making sure that people know what to expect. So, and then I think there might be one other link in mind. Yeah, the SiD training checklist. Again, developed this years ago. Just some good talking points. So I make sure and touch on all of these to make sure that staff understand like all of the pieces and where to find it. I don't share it with staff, but I just use it as talking points with them. And I will share one of my funnest shares at the end of whenever I do SiD training with people, because I'm a data geek. I love everything about data and love SiD. And SiD's the fourth system that I've worked in since having been an adult ed. And I just call it the Cadillac of data systems. I'm just gonna say, because I don't know how many of you knew that Mary and Jenny both worked as admin staff before they joined the SiD team. So they knew all of the pieces that all of us needed to track, and they fine-tuned it and just made it so user-friendly and so helpful. And oh my gosh, I love the help section with all of the information that's in there too. That live owner's manual is awesome. So that being said, let's go back and make sure I stay on task for, I don't know if there was anything else that I had shared. Let me look at my slides. Is that the only last
of the
slide that I
items.
had? Okay, I think it might be. It was. So if anybody has any questions, you know where to find me. So thank you for being here today and enjoy the rest of the conference too. Take it away, Cindy.
Thank you, Linda. Okay, Cindy, are you ready?
I am. I thought I
Okay.
just turned my camera on. No, I didn't.
There you are.
Introducing my assistant. There she is. Can you see her?
Yep.
There's my assistant. Okay, that's Casey Joe. I'm turning the camera off because I will get distracted. I've been with adult education as LSS, which I think is learner service support or something along those lines. I'm not even sure. Anyways, I was with them up until just, I believe it was February or March, and now I am the data specialist. If you ever knew Belinda, I'm the new Belinda, who she rocked the job. Anyways, we have an LSS supervisor. And so when we have new people, she pretty much makes a schedule, and they'll spend a few hours with me. They'll spend a few hours with Lee, who's our testing coordinator. They'll spend some time with our with Damon, who is our professional development. No, I forget what it's called. He's the career pathways. That's what it is. And then so we all kind of take a part in training the new people. I'm really good to tell people that you know what, this is all going to be overwhelming. None of it's going to make sense until you finally just jump in and start doing it. And to not be afraid to ask questions, because I know it took me months and months. I've been with adult education since, same as Linda, 2006, I believe. She was 5. But I've been with Minneapolis Public Schools. I'm starting year 34. So anyways, I made up these cheat sheets, which are very similar to Linda's checklist.
Click this one.
Yep. This is the one that we go through first when we are showing somebody how to do an intake and all of our intakes are online. Even if they come in and they don't know how to do the online one, we give them a Chromebook and we help them go through it. That way we always have records. So I'm real good. We always want to make sure that they use that search, which Jenny said was a very longer video because it is complicated. And if they don't do the search right, guess who gets to go in and fix it? Me. All right, the next page. So this is the search one, and we gave visuals because it's so much easier to do this, and you guys will have access to all of these, so you can use them at your convenience. I didn't even look at them that much. So anyways, yep, we have pictures. We do have in this also, it gives we use CASAS and we use TABE, and CASAS goals for math. And this is really good with how much counseling testing time you want to give a student. If they're coming over from another program, if you go down a little bit, it's showing which test to give for post-test, which test to give for pre-test. We always use the locator for all of them. And because a lot of the times, if they come from another program, they might have taken, say, the 83 CASAS, and we don't want to turn around and give them the 80. If we give them the locator, it might give them the 83 again. So looking at students' old records is really vital, so we don't give the person the same test that they took before. All right, I think that's all mostly on this one. Go down to the looking up a student's record first. This is just a real quick one that I made up for throwing somebody into the fire. It's like, okay, here, start working. And this is just a quick cheat sheet to show you how to find a student's schedule, how to print it up. And, because if we get really busy or something, at least they can go to this, they can at least do something constructive and helpful. All right, the next one is my tab cheat sheet. And this one is because it took me a long time to learn this. I went into a student's account, and these are all of the tabs across the top of the screen. And I wanted to let everybody know what is under each of the tabs. Especially, can you go down to the history? The history tab has a lot of stuff, and for the longest time, I didn't remember all of that. So I wanted to have that so that if anybody needs to do any updating or they need to do any cleanup or anything like that, they would know where to find all the different things. Okie dokie. And then with the roster management, I'm not sure if this is a common chart that everybody has or not, but with Minneapolis, we do not use the did not complete, but we use everything else. We're very defined as far as if the class ended, if the student completed the class, if they were dropped, they had hours and they were in the class, but all of a sudden they just disappeared. We use removed if they've never attended, so they had 0 hours. Transferred, say they want to go from an AM to a PM class. And then if they come in and say, well, I'm moving to California, then we would use withdrew. And we're very specific about how these are used. And those are it for my cheat sheets. And then I got my assistant leaning on me. So anyway.
Okay. All right.
So, say that again.
Nothing. Go ahead.
Okay. This is the first time I've ever had to do this, and I just suck at it. So
No,
I don't like public speaking.
Well, then you're doing really great.
Thank you.
I was just going to ask if people have any questions now that all three folks have introduced their training system at their sites, if it's a good time to open it up for questions. And then I'm going to have folks do a quick activity, actually. And I agree. You're doing great. Oh, go ahead, Cindy.
Thank you. I just want to add one thing. Jenny and Mary are the bomb. I have a bat line to Mary. I think I probably talk to her at least once a week. And anyways, so usually if you email, you're usually going to get a response usually the same day. So those guys are the absolute bomb, and do not be afraid to reach out to them.
And we did not pay her to say that.
I agree with
Oh.
Cindy. Thanks, Cindy, for sharing that
Whoops.
too. I know they're both awesome. So
They're the bomb. Okay.
So
Take
I
it
just
away, Jenny.
I just want to go back to that activity one. Sorry to make everyone's head spin here. But I just want folks to have the opportunity, if you haven't, since you're kind of like I said, now's the time, you're not doing anything else. You have a moment to just absorb some of the info you've gotten. And then why don't you go, everyone open up a separate tab and go check out 1 or 2 videos. And you don't have to watch the whole video, but just look at one of the videos, either one of the ones in the SOS SiD Orientation Series or one in the admin level. Maybe look at one for, a minute or so, fast forward around, and then look at another one, just ones you haven't seen before, and start thinking about how you might put them to use in either your training or, like monthly reminder trainings, that kind of thing. So why don't you go ahead and do that, everyone? I'm going to give us all like a 2-minute break to do that, and then come back and just tell us which one you looked at, if you think it will be useful for your training. And then we'll also open it up for other questions because we'll have a little bit of time before we have to end everything. So 2 minutes. And then do come back and chime in on the chat with some of your thoughts and which video you looked at. And you don't have to watch the whole video. Just watch, a few minutes. All right. I'm going to mute. All right, Marilyn says they're great. Rachel watched what SiD tracks and why. Yes, I like to know why we do things, and then you can explain it. Yep, it's a good one. Hopefully that covered some of the questions you often get. Anybody else watch anything? Or maybe somebody took a look at the SiD basics guides. Yes, you watched some of the SOS. Awesome, I think those are great. Nice little bite-sized chunks of info. Student screens, good. Are these kind of new videos to some of you all who just went and watched them? Are they kind of your first time taking a look? Okay, great. Laura, I'm glad you got in to oh, that was a private message. Glad you made it in. Student screens, you looked at that one as well. Yeah, that was one of the reasons, Marilyn, that we made them very small chunks, is because if you try to watch it all in one big long video, that's just too overwhelming. Okay, Ana Luisa, first time watching some of these videos. Great. Okay, I'm going to go to the end of the slideshow here. Any other feedback? Any other thoughts about videos that you wish existed? And they may be something we should add to our to-do list. If you think of some later, or if you have further questions, please email us, sidsupport@literacymn.org. That goes to both Mary and I. And if you just have a specific question, we can get back to you right away. But if you have ideas for maybe other videos that we could make about SiD help content that you think would be useful, or even how-to documents and things, we're always wanting to make sure we've got everything everyone needs. And if people ask us questions, sometimes if staff ask us questions about specific issues and they didn't realize there was a help article, often our response is a link to a help article, a little bit of explanation. But if there's something that doesn't exist that you think would be useful, then we're always open to hear about what we could make to make your experience in SiD as easy and user-friendly as possible. And as you see, we have the emails and the names. Laura, the email for Mary and I is that top one, sidsupport@literacymn.org. So
Can I throw
Yeah.
a video?
Yes, please do. Please
Okay,
do.
because I do this at the end of every SiD training that I do with all new staff.
Mm-hmm.
I go through the program summary report
Ah, okay.
and I page through it so that the site that they're working at, that they can see participants versus enrollees and all the demographics and all the things. And it's like, when I do that, it's like they all get excited. I don't know if anybody's as much of a data geek as I am, but I'm
Man, if other people are getting excited about that, that's they must
well,
be.
it's just really cool because you can like see so much information just in a snapshot, and it's like awesome information. So
Okay, good idea. Good idea. So you're thinking like a little video that kind of like shows that report and highlights the different tables of information that might be useful for programs.
yeah.
Okay, cool. Cool. Any other questions or suggestions out there? We're getting to the end of our time here. So I think next you all get, there's like a lunch break time and the next sessions begin at 1. Is that right?
That is correct. Yes,
Okay.
please take and go enjoy some lunch. Everybody, have a great afternoon and come back. Your links should be in your email for how to get back into the next sessions after lunch.
And I want to say a special thank you to my co-hosts, Stacy, Linda, and Cindy for helping with this and putting up their resources and sharing them and being willing to present. Thank you very much. That makes it absolutely worthwhile. Thank you all. I'm in a few sessions this afternoon, so maybe I'll see some of you there.
Yep. Have a good afternoon.
Thanks, everyone.
I'm going to go ahead and end the session.
Okay, thank you.